Hello, welcome to another Sunday video. I just wanted to apologize real quick for the background changes and the lighting changes. Me and my husband are still trying to figure out how best to present the videos and things like that. So just wanted to make sure people knew, I guess, what we were doing. I also want to apologize because I'm getting over a chest cold and my throat's a little dry, so I may have to um, adjust my voice every now and then. But anyway, let me go ahead and get into it. Today I'm going to be talking about when pastors cause pain. I guess that's the best way to say it. I think we've all been in a situation, well, maybe not all of us, but a lot of us have been in a situation where we went to a church and we were hurt by what happened there. Maybe not necessarily by the pastor, but I'm going to focus on that just because that's something I've went through personally. And if there are things that happen because of members in the church, it kind of reflects on the leadership. So I'm just kind of go into that a little bit. I'll try to tell a little bit of my story to give some better idea of maybe what I've been through. I grew up in the church. My family was just it was just something that you always do. You go to church Sunday morning, Sunday night, and Wednesday. It was it wasn't really a bad experience for me necessarily. I guess initially, um, I did struggle a little bit because a lot of times I felt forced to go, and I say that only because I think a lot of people have trouble going to church now because they were forced at one time. So I do understand that feeling, but I do remember a brief period of time where I enjoyed going to church despite being forced. I liked the pastor. I liked the I guess the children's church. Of course, I was young, um, and everything was pretty much okay. We left that church and went to moved to a new city and started at another small church that was, I guess, on its way up, growing. Um, and I remember enjoying that church too. The pastor was good. The children's church was good. Everything was good about it. But just like a lot of churches, there was a change in leadership. I don't know the exact details. I know the pastor had to leave the church, and so they brought in a new pastor, and that's where I would say the problems in church for me began. I'm gonna say, gosh, I don't remember what age I was, maybe 10 or 12, something like that, and the new pastor came in, and I just never really liked the new pastor, and I mean, some things happened in my family. Um, my sister was raped by a guy her age at the church, and my parents decided to take it to the pastor and get his advice and help with it, and and at the time I didn't feel like he was very helpful. I think my family kind of felt that way too. Um, After many years, I understand why now. And I don't know how much to go into with this, but like my mother was someone who liked to get attention. She liked to um like I don't want to say take over the church, but she liked to be in powerful positions in the church, and I think the pastor just looked at it like she was trying to get attention. So um I don't really look down on any of that now. I'm just trying to say in the moment I felt like he didn't do enough, but now I think differently. But what really drove me to leave the church was just that I didn't agree with any of the things that he said. Like his messages, they just didn't reach me, and I can't tell you what they were about. I don't even remember. I just remember the feeling of like this constant feeling of like, well, I'm not getting anything, is what it felt like. And, I've explained this a little bit before. Sometimes pastors just want to talk about inspirational messages and a lot of positivity, and I don't really feel like a lot of them tend to focus on things that are helpful for life. I mean, we all go through negative things that we need help with, but anyway, I'll just go ahead and fast forward a little bit. Once I was out of the church, I didn't really go to church much after that. For probably 5 years, I was looking for churches. I remember visiting churches, but I could never find anything. And I ended up just visiting a church on every Easter and Christmas. So that kind of thing was going on. But then when I got married, my husband was in a church, and I saw an opportunity to start going to one again. Um, because I still wanted to go to church. I mean, I think there's never been a time I didn't want to. I just wanted to find a church that was right for me. So, going back to when pastors cause pain, this is probably the most the biggest time where a pastor calls me pain, and I'm just telling it because like I want you to understand that a lot of people do go through that type of thing. Um, his um his dad was the pastor, right? So it's my father-in-law, and I don't know if that created like a dynamic that made things harder. But it was a small church, and small churches tend to have more problems. That's just my opinion. So um so I just remember there were times when we would be at church, and he would just, I don't know how to explain it. Like, um, I'm just a very quiet person, and he would walk to the back, and he'd just be very loud, I guess. I don't know how to explain it. He'd just be like, "Hey, how are you?" Um, and after a while, it was just very difficult for me to handle that kind of thing because I don't know people like that. I don't handle that very well. And it, like, I know it wasn't the best way to respond, but I think I would always like try to make a face or something, and just, you know, um, maybe even had a frown face or something. But like, he never seemed to take a hint. And I know many people are like this, so I'm not trying to say anything bad. I'm just saying, like, there was no trying to figure out who I was, or trying to figure out like what kind of communication I needed, nothing like that. But that's just something small. I'll try to go into the bigger issues that I had. So I remember a situation one time where I was trying to leave the church. I think we had just, tried to say goodbye to everybody. And um and I was at the back of the church, and I had a bottle of water, and I had set the bottle of water on like a shelf. There was like a back area with the sound system, and I had set the bottle of water on the shelf. Um, so I remember my husband said, "Do you want your water?" And he was referring to the water on the shelf. And I was like, "Oh, no, no, I'll get it. I'll get it on Tuesday." And his dad the pastor, was standing back, um, I guess where he heard all this. He was standing close to where the water was. He was like in the back where the sound system was. And he raised his voice, and he said, "Come get your water." And it was very aggressive. It was very harsh. It was like really hurtful to me. And I, at first I was in shock. I was like, "Oh, is he joking or something?" And I almost walked out, but then I realized he was serious, and I went back to get the water, and I was just so hurt. Like, I didn't say anything, and I just grabbed it and walked out. And he was like, "Thank you." And like, there was just a tone, I guess I'll just say it like that, is the situation was very hurtful, is all I'm trying to say. And I know it's just one situation. I did tell a story a few videos ago about how there was another situation where we were having like we had these things called Tuesday Table Talk, and it was like where the members of the church would sit down with him and his wife, which was the co-pastor, and we would just talk about whatever we felt like talking about. And the story I had told was where I was trying to answer a question that his wife had asked about my Christmases and with my mother, because that's one area that's been very hurtful for me. And he just started saying things that made it feel like it was my responsibility to fix the relationship. I think it was, have you written her a letter? Um, are you sure it's God telling you to do these things and stuff like that? And of course, really hurtful statements to me personally. But you know, I say all this because like that's just my experience, and um, ultimately, I did have to leave the church. Um, Unfortunately, the things that I've mentioned barely scratched the surface of what all was going on. It would probably take me like weeks to really explain it. Um, and I don't want to sound like I'm bashing him or anything. It's not like that. Um, but because of what he went through a lot growing up. He had a hard time with leadership, and I think the church really just needed a better leader. So, well, I'll try to leave leave the information about him there, and maybe I can go into it more later. But um, I just want to say that like it's very common to have toxic religion, toxic pastors. One thing I've learned is pastors tend to have a lot of problems, sometimes more than the average person. And well, I mean, maybe that's debatable, but um, it's more than you would think, I guess. Like when you think of a pastor, you think leadership and oh, they're going to be helpful and things like that. Well, that's not necessarily true. So I just want to put that out there. Like just bad experiences in church are very typical. I mean, I've heard it so many times with family, with within the church. It's just it's out of control, and I do hope that can get better. But that's a different topic. Anyway, um, I just wanna encourage you if you felt that before. There's nothing wrong with you for not wanting to go to church. There's nothing wrong with you for, watching these videos if that's all you do, or if you just watch a church video, or if you do nothing at all. There's really nothing wrong with that. You just have to try to develop your relationship with God, whatever that looks like. Um, so with the time that I usually try to keep it in, that's about all I can say. But I hope that I can encourage you more in the future, and I really thank you for watching. Hope you have a good day.